Hey everyone, what's going on? Jeff here from Films at Home. I got another 4K review for you of a new release, and today we're taking a look at Paramount Pictures' latest movie, Scream, on 4K Blu-ray. Now, this is technically Scream 5 in the series, and I'm a big fan of the Scream series, although I still think the first one is my favorite. This is maybe the best one since the first, in my opinion. Had a lot of fun watching this and was super excited that Paramount sent me the 4K to review for you guys, so I'll be letting you know all about the audio quality, video quality, some of the packaging and special features, and sort of doing a comparison to the Paramount Plus stream of this movie, because there's an interesting difference between the two, and I don't know why it happened. Also want to give a quick shout out to Paramount because they hooked it up with the ghost face mask for my collection, which is awesome. They sent that to me actually back when it came out in theaters, and that was really, really cool because I've got like Friday the 13th, I've got Leatherface, I've got Michael Myers, I've got Freddy masks and busts all over my collection. And I actually didn't have a ghost face, so I'm going to turn that into a kind of cool little ghost face bust to add to my shelving, so thanks to Paramount for that. Before we get started, make sure you're subscribed, especially if you like Blu-ray and 4K reviews, collecting videos, movie collections, things like that. Tons of content on my page and tons more coming, including a new podcast, so you'll want to be subscribed for all that and help us hit 100,000 subscribers in 2022. Now, Scream here on 4K is presented by Paramount Pictures with a nice 4K scan and Dolby Vision HDR. Now, the movie was only shot on an Arri RAW camera, which IMDb is telling me was at 3.4K resolution, so it's close to being a 4K digital intermediate, but it is a tiny, tiny bit of an upscale. That being said, it looks a lot like most of the kind of modern movies that have come out on 4K over the last several years. It is nice that it's at least not a 2K upscale. More movies are being shot at higher resolutions, and we're seeing those benefits on 4K, but this isn't quite near the reference quality that a newer disc like the Suicide Squad or Gemini Man, which are a couple that I always go back to, those ones are just nicer. This one had some consistency issues. It wasn't perfect. I mean, the average viewer is probably not going to notice the difference, but also, was it a huge improvement over what you could get on a 1080p Blu-ray? Like, really not. I mean, there is nice detail. It does look good. It looks better than the Blu-ray. It looks better than the Paramount Plus stream. It is the best quality version of the movie, but whether you bought this on 4K or you buy the 1080p Blu-ray, you're going to have a pretty good experience either way, and even if you're streaming it on 4K with Paramount Plus, that's going to be decent, although you'll notice a little bit more of the compression on the streaming side. The one benefit for me here, and this continues to be the major benefit for movies on physical disc with 4K, is the HDR. I just don't think that on streaming services you're getting true HDR color. It's definitely compressed down. It's just not the same as what you get on disc, and Blu-ray doesn't have it at all, so that's a major reason to upgrade. The Dolby Vision here looks great. Black levels are really good. You do get a little bit of crushed blacks at some points, but I didn't think it was that bad. I mean, I would give this disc a solid like 4 out of 5 overall, which is, I would say, pretty average for a newer movie. You know, I would expect most things to be 4.5, 5 out of 5, but it's right up there. It's an average looking solid 4K disc of a newly shot movie. You're not going to have any issues with it at all, and the big benefit of 4K is going to be your HDR, where it does help balance out the black levels, the brightness, the contrast. It deals in all of those areas better than what I was seeing on the Blu-ray side of things. So that'll be the big difference maker. But again, if you're buying this on Blu-ray, it's going to be, $22, $23. If you buy it on 4K, it's another couple of dollars. If you're going to buy it at release day, it probably makes sense to just buy the 4K at this point so you get the best version. But if you do need to save a couple dollars, all I'm saying is Blu-ray would be an okay option. Now, the audio on this one is where I'm a little confused. The Paramount Plus stream of Scream, say that 5 times fast, stream of Scream on 4K has Dolby Atmos. It's Dolby Atmos on Paramount Plus. On the physical disc, we only get 7.1 DTS HD. Now, for the average person, that's probably splitting hairs. Will the average person who goes to Target and buys this movie or buys it from Amazon notice the difference between Atmos and 7.1? Maybe not. Maybe not. Again, most people are still probably working with soundbars or 5.1 systems, and so again, you're not going to notice the difference. But if you've invested in an Atmos system for your home theater, it's disappointing that Paramount hasn't included that on the 4K disc when it's available streaming. Now, my theory is that the Atmos on streaming is really just a glorified 7.1, and it's probably not true Atmos, that they've kind of played around with it. It's a little bit of a marketing play to say, oh, look, we have Dolby Atmos on Paramount Plus. Because if it didn't make it to the disc, it most likely isn't like real Atmos. I would have to assume Paramount's going to put their best foot forward, and if the Atmos track was really worth it, it would have made it to the disc. That's my theory, but I'm hoping that's true, because otherwise this is not a good trend to see Paramount putting better audio quality on their streaming service than they do on their physical disc, and minimizing the value of the physical disc. That's a bad thing. So I am hoping that this is just like a marketing thing, a shiny, bright object on Paramount Plus that says Atmos that makes you think you're getting a better experience. I have a feeling they're pretty much the same, but we'll have to keep an eye on this in the future with other Paramount Plus and Paramount Pictures releases on 4K. Now, overall, audio is good. No problems here. Great 7.1 track. Music sounds good. Lots of great action. Dialogue is very clear. Everything you'd expect from a modern movie. No hiccups at all on the audio side. I just am a little concerned about why it didn't have Atmos on physical disc, and that's something we'll keep an eye on. Now, for packaging here, you get the typical Hollywood crappy cover art that they've been doing on posters for the last 5 years, and needs to stop, where you get a pyramid of characters with the main character Ghostface at the top and everyone else falls in underneath, and then you have the title. I just absolutely hate this artwork. So it's not against Paramount. I don't know, they need to get somebody new designing posters in Hollywood. And then on the inside, you've got the same artwork, right? And then just the 4K disc. So there is no Blu-ray combo back here. It's just 4K and digital. So they've taken the Blu-ray disc out, which is interesting. I actually don't mind it, but I do mind it if you're going to charge the same. Not the case here, though. They are still charging more for the 4K. Now, the special features, you've got some deleted scenes. You've got a behind-the-scenes little featurette with the cast members, which is cool because they brought everyone back. You've got the legacy of Wes Craven, which I enjoyed because Wes Craven is a huge influence on my love for horror movies and has made so many great horror movies. I have an autographed picture of his over in my collection, so I liked watching that. And then you have the filmmaker commentary, which didn't really give me much, but hey, it's there. At least there's a commentary track and there are some special features. So overall, I think Scream is probably one you're going to want to buy on 4K, again, because the price difference between Blu-ray and 4K is only like $3 or $4 in most cases, and for that, it's definitely worth getting the HDR and Dolby Vision color. Well worth it in my opinion. Plus, since it is kind of close to a 4K source, it's a better looking movie than some other 2K upscales that are out there, and it's one that I'm more confident in recommending 4K for versus just sticking with the Blu-ray. Can't really go wrong either way with movies that are this new, but 4K is definitely getting the leg up for $3 or $4. Overall, it's worth a purchase. I think the movie's pretty good, so it's worth picking up if you haven't seen it, and it's definitely a better experience than streaming on Paramount Plus, although that's pretty good. Always go for the physical disc, especially with a darker movie like this. That's where you really start to see the compression come in, and you get to see like the pixelation, the compression in darker scenes, and how it gets so washed out because it can't handle these really deep black levels. Like, streaming is just still not there yet. So Scream is going to be best viewed on 4K. That's the one I'll leave in the description if you want to pick it up on Amazon. That helps support my channel, so I appreciate it. And also make sure you check out all the other links. My social media links are down there. Make sure you're subscribed, and make sure you check out the podcast links as well, with all the different places you can find the Films at Home podcast on your favorite stations. So that's it for the video. Thank you for watching. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Stay safe and healthy out there, and I'll talk to you all soon.